fucking iPad just fell. Wait, there you go. Alright, hey up. You might recognise me from a couple months ago. I'm standing in front of the window because I want to get the best camera quality and I also look the best. But people are going to think I'm weird. But anyway, I want to talk about my experiences in a mental hospital. It was really hard. I was sectioned 2 months ago because I was my head just went right. I think the worst part of it is that it was just really depressing, because the problem was that at that time I didn't really have anyone. I was just really I didn't really have a lot of people, and the thing is, basically, when I was sectioned, the police actually came. So yeah, the police came and they had to restrain me. So literally, my door, well, it's not my door, but it's literally around the corner. My door, that got busted down. Well, not literally, but because the thing is with my door, it's a sliding door, and the only way I can lock it is with a hook. And when the police came, I had it hooked so no one could get in. So it's kind of like a lock, kind of. And so the problem was that when they kicked the door, the whole thing came off. So basically, for a time, I couldn't actually lock my door. And also, my door at night don't close properly. But thankfully, I was able to get the hook back on. So, so that's I guess. But I still can't close the door properly, and I don't want to put the hook on. So, yeah. The thing is with the police is that when they brought the door down, I actually tried to attack them. So what happened was that when I attacked them, they restrained me. And I was obviously, when I was in the state that I was, I was still trying to attack them. And they restrained me. So what they had to do was they had to put my hands behind my back. I know you can't see it, but put my hands behind my back. Then they restrained me. My legs, basically tied my legs together, and then they also put handcuffs on my ankles. So it was a handcuff by my ankles and my wrists, and I had my legs tied together. And then still, there was a police officer on top of me, between my legs, so I literally could not move. And the thing is, and still, they had to hold my head down as well. And another one had to hold my body down. Now the thing is that I'm not tall. I'm like 5'4", and I'm also very light. I'm 6 stone, which for my height is anorexic, kind of underweight. I'm not anorexic. I'm just very underweight. I've always have been. But and then when they took me to a hospital, they put me in A&E, and I was there for 5 fucking days. And the worst part of it was that I was in this side room. So I wasn't in a, what do you call it? So basically, like when you're in A&E, there's beds and stuff. But the thing is, I was put in a side room, and it was the worst. It was so depressing. There was nothing in that room, just the bed and 2 chairs. And when they put me in, I was handcuffed, and my legs were still tied. And they had to have police there to watch me, obviously, in case I didn't do shit. And then, because the thing is, it changed. So there was 2 days where the police were there, or I guess a day and a half, where the police were there. And so basically, the police that were there for the first few hours were the police that originally came, because obviously they had to go and do other shit. And then three other police officers came. Now I thought they were alright, but the thing is that when one of them left, it was like the other two came. So it was a man and it was a bloke and a lass, and the bloke, he was an absolute dickhead. Because the thing is that that night I had to go and have an assessment with this doctor and I think the psychiatrist. So I had that done, and then they decided, from what I told them, to put me on a section 1, which is in hospital for 3 days. So I had to go back to that room, which I did not want to do, obviously. It was the pressing room I've ever fucking seen in my life. And then what happened was that they tried to get me to go into the bed, which I didn't want to do. I preferred to just stand, because my mum was also there. And then they basically kept holding me. They grabbed me and tried to force me to go into the bed. And I was like, fuck off. If I don't want to go into the bed, I don't want to go into the bed. And then I was like, well, fuck you. Then I decided to sit on the floor, because they were still trying to push me, getting me to go into the bed. And then I just sank to the floor, and then they held me up and still trying to push me. So I was literally like, get the fuck off me. And then they started getting very aggressive. And then eventually I was like, fine, I'll fucking sit on the bed. I won't get in the bed, but I'll sit on the edge of the bed. And then they still weren't happy. It was like, just lay down. It was like, what the fuck? Like, why do you want me to lay down on the bed? And so eventually, and then my mum, she wasn't making things any better. So she said something to me. She was like, he didn't have to come to this or something. And then what I did, because I've got autism as well, I hit myself, so literally like this, when she said that. So, and then, when I did that, the officers started fucking flying all over me. And then I obviously started trying to fight back. And then one of them, the last, she tried to put ankles on me, but what I did, I literally bit into the fucking cuff. So imagine this is the cuff, literally in my mouth. And then obviously they would tell me, let go of the cuff. Or her name, Beth. Her name was Beth. Which is funny because my sister's name is Beth, but her name was Beth. And she was like, get off Beth's cuff, get off Beth's cuffs. And then I didn't. And then eventually the bloke, he came round, because they were on opposite sides of each other. So he came round, and then he grabbed the cuff, and then he forced it out my mouth. And I'm so surprised the way he did it, with the amount of force he did. I'm surprised I've still got teeth. My teeth is kind of clean and straight. Even after that, because the thing is, when I was younger, I never used to take care of my teeth. I'm surprised I've still got teeth, and they look as good as they do. They don't look that good, but surprised they look as good as they do. But and then after that, he didn't want to take the handcuffs off me. Even when because later I had to go to Lou, and so basically he wouldn't take the handcuffs, and I was like, okay, whatever, I don't have to take them off to have a piss. So I went to Lou. He had to take me to Lou, obviously, so I didn't do anything, safety reasons. And then when I was trying to go to the toilet, he had to stand in the fucking toilet with me. I was trying to have a piss. And obviously with me, I think this is normal for everyone, but I can't have a piss when someone else is in the toilet with me. So I was asking, can you just stand outside the door? And he was like, no. And literally, it wasn't by the door or literally outside the door. He was literally in the room. So I was like, I don't want you watching me. And then he was like, okay, I'll just look behind. I won't look, but I just won't look. So he turned around. I was like, I just can't have a piss while you're in there. Well, you're in here. So I was like, okay, so I'll stand by the door. And I was like, I still can't do it. Just fuck off. I didn't say that to him. I just said, can you please just stand outside the door? And then apparently the most he could do was just basically go outside the door, but have the door open. It was like, I still can't do it. Whenever I need a piss, the door has to be locked. I don't know why, I just can't have it unlocked. And so, but he still wouldn't do it. So I didn't have a piss for pretty much a whole day, literally. And then the police, the thing is that after they left, so the other police officers came, they were really nice. Which says a lot about him. He was just looking for power, fucking power tripping him and her. And then I had another assessment that day, in the morning. And then after what I told them, and after what I guess the psychiatrist told them from the assessment the other night, they put me on section 2. So it's a month. I had to stay in a mental hospital for a month. But the thing is, I was in A&E. After that, I was in A&E for 5 days. So, because they were trying to find me, because I'm 17, they were trying to find me a mental hospital for adolescents, people my age, and so that was a shit show. Eventually they found me a place, and what I will say about it, that the staff were lovely. I loved the staff, they were lovely. There were other kids there, but I wasn't that fucking bothered. I just, because the thing is, we had our own rooms, so I stayed in my room pretty much the whole time. They didn't diagnose me with all. They didn't give me no treatment at all. I had trouble sleeping, so they gave me some melatonin. But yeah, it was just boring, literally boring. I was doing my own thing. I was literally on my laptop and my phone, because I brought it with me eventually. On my phone, my laptop, for the entire, in that room for the entire time I was there. I had 2 psychology assessments and OT assessment. I don't know what the OT stands for. Or is it optimal therapy or some bullshit like that? In the end, no diagnosis, no medication at all. So literally it was fucking pointless. But, and then I was let out. And then, so basically, the thing is that, what really pissed me off was that, literally, they were like promising all this shit. Promising, oh, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna get you well again. And it was like, well, what do you mean by getting me well again if you don't even fucking know what I've got? I don't know what I've got. They didn't know what the fuck I had. They said it was psychosis. That they kept saying psychosis, but what kind of psychosis is not a diagnosis in its sense. It's a general term, because many things can cause psychosis, not just problems with your head. Even physical things can cause psychosis. For example, if you've got cancer and it goes to your head, that can cause psychosis because it fucks up your brain chemistry. So they weren't very specific. Obviously, in that context, they were mental. But the thing is that they weren't very specific. And then eventually they was like, okay, it don't have psychosis, but it's got psychotic-like symptoms. And then, okay, fair enough. And then they still didn't diagnose me with anything. They just let me go. But what they did was that they had some things in place. So they had, what do you call it? So basically, community mental health services, they were meant to come out. And then I was back at Limerick again, which was the mental clinic that I was at before this whole shit went off. And they didn't do fuck all as well. I basically blame them for the reason why I got like that. And they didn't do anything. They literally did not do well. So basically, in short, it was depressing, it was boring. I didn't want to be there. And it was just shit. Basically shit. I guess I'm better now, I suppose. I'm still struggling every single day, but I'm a lot better than I used to be, because I had a YouTube channel a couple months ago and I was off my head. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about it, and hopefully it could help someone else. I don't know, because obviously I guess those who go through what I go through is rare, because most other kids my age, they have depression, anxiety. But I guess for me, because obviously I've got a lot more than that from what they say. So yeah, you take care.